Hey, Wes here, Airstream Wanderings. Thanks for joining me today. And I am going to work on two different things today. First is corrugation. I've just started learning to do corrugation. It's surprisingly difficult. So I have a couple of different bowls that are corrugated on the rim, and these are supposed to be Tularosa Fillet bowls. So we made these in Andy Ward's Ancient Pottery Club, and so that's one thing I've been working on. Then the second thing is these bowls are traditionally smudged black on the inside, and I've never intentionally smudged anything, and so that will be a new skill in firing. So if this interests you, please come along. So once the pots have fired, I'll bring them over here where I will invert them and have organic material on the inside. I'm using two different things. I have just dried leaves, and then over here is some sawdust, and I'll just invert it on that and then seal it up. The only reason I have bricks here is to protect my patio. Then I've laid some sand down to help kind of create a seal around the edge of the pots. So I have the primary fire has been going here for a while. I've got a number of different pots I'm doing. These all have a little bit of corrugation on them. Really never done corrugation before. But the main interest is the Tularosa bowls, which are a plain bowl and then have corrugation on the rim and then smudged on the inside. These have all been in the house, in the oven. I crank it up as hot as it'll go. Well, first I dry them out at a slower temperature, then crank it up. Then we'll smudge these things once they're fully fired. So let's get this thing going here. Once the fire is fully in its oxidation stage and the pots are good and hot, I expect at least 1,000 degrees, that's when I'll pull them out. I want to make sure they're fully fired and there's no huge hurry. How hot they need to be, I don't know. But I'm thinking if they're close to 1,000 degrees, that certainly should be enough to ignite the organic material that I'm sitting them on. So you can see the pots in there, they're probably pretty close to being ready to come out. And from there, I'll just move them over to my little smudge center. One of the things I recently purchased from Amazon were these fireplace tongs. I think they were like $15. And actually, I think they're going to work pretty good for picking up the pots and moving them around. I'm definitely in the oxidation phase. The pots are over 1,000 degrees, 1,100 degrees or so, but they're not going to fire anymore. So I think we can move them over to get them smudged, see how that goes. Another thing that's really come in handy are these welding gloves. Picked them up at Home Depot, I guess, and very handy. Okay, move it over. We'll let these things cool and see if they really smudged on the inside. Well, let's see what we ended up with. The firing is done. These have cooled down, maybe 100 degrees or so. And so let's look at a few of these, see what happens. Here's a bigger bowl. Again, this was sawdust, not all of it burned. So it looks to me like you don't really need a whole lot of organic material. Some of the rim of it did not char, but it looks to me like the inside is jet black and probably pretty permanent. Well, again, I'll take these inside and wash them up and we'll see what they look like. I'm not unhappy with the corrugation. Again, this is a new skill for me. Corrugation is deceptively difficult to do, but it's fun. I enjoy doing it. And one last one. These are leaves that I use. Does that make any difference? I'm not sure. Looks like the inside is, again, smudged the way I would want it to be. Kind of dirty, but well, it'll clean up. And this got up against the rim just a little bit better, but it probably has to do with the surface that I'm putting it on. Now, I've been told that one option is to, when you put these in the fire to begin with, to fire them, you could tuck organic material in underneath them and then build a fire and fire the pot all at one time. The issue is that the rim, which is down against the earth, may not fire, may not get as hot as it needs to get. So that's the reason for pulling it out of the fire and putting it over on another surface with the material underneath. So let's take these inside, clean them up, and see what we get. Okay, let's talk quickly about the Tularosa Fillet pot. Everything turned out fine as expected. This is the way one of the pots looked like that was fired without having any of the smudging. And the firing was good, not a problem with that. And then this is one of the pots that was smudged, same kind of thing. So I had fire clouds around the edge, and inside is jet black, and it's permanent. I've washed this under water, and you rub on it, the black does not rub off. This is permanent, so I think it is as it's supposed to be. I'm not sure it's supposed to have these fire clouds around the edge. And on this particular pot, it didn't smudge all the way inside of it, and it's because I put it down on sand, and that edge kind of got buried into the sand. I think it would probably work better if you put this down on a fairly solid surface. Then for the organic material, I use sawdust on one and leaves on another. I can't tell the difference, so I don't think that matters. It also doesn't seem to take very much of the stuff, because in both cases there was quite a bit of material that was unburned. Putting it down when these were about 1,000 degrees or so, that seemed to be about right. So that all worked out well. I can tell you these things kind of have a smell, and it's not real pleasant. Kind of a, I don't know how to explain it. So I need to wash them again, and maybe that will take away some of the smell, but it's the organic part that's kind of embedded in it. Maybe that will go away, we'll see. But a good experiment. Now, if you are interested in the corrugation piece, and I'm not unhappy with what I did, but I am far from being an expert. Andy Ward, Ancient Pottery, his YouTube channel, he has a really nice interview with John Olson, who is probably the best corrugator around. Also, Tony Soros has a corrugation video on his YouTube channel. And there's a little bit different ways to do it. So watch those and maybe you can figure it out. I'm also grateful that Andy Ward has his Ancient Potters Club, and this is what we made one month. And they're relatively plain, so able to make several of them. It was a good experience, so you might want to check that out if you're interested in doing different kinds of ancient pottery. So thanks for joining me today. Really appreciate it. Thanks for the comments and subscriptions, all those things. And until next time, this is Wes with Airstream Wanderings, wishing you health, happiness, peace, and love. Take care. Bye-bye.